You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 458 for Sunday, the 11th of May, 2025.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. I would ask you how you are, but that would perhaps reveal too much about our experience this evening trying to record a podcast.
Absolutely. Not only have Disney gone ahead and put in a theme park in a far-flung corner of a world, but the whole world has gone to pot because our recording system did not work.
Yay for changes that we don't like. I don't mind change when change works, but when change doesn't work, I don't like it.
There's Michelle literally rocking under the desk right now because anyone who knows me knows I'm low techie, and when there's techie problems and it keeps saying on the AI, oh, just press this button, and there's no such button, Michelle gets a little bit stressed. So apologies, but let's get on and talk some wonderful Disney, because many years ago, I did dig out on this day in Disney history. And
many years ago, by the sounds of it, yeah.
It just feels like that almost. So, 11th of May, 1883, sketch artist Albert Herter is born in Zurich, Switzerland. He was the first ever inspirational sketch artist to work at the Walt Disney Studios between 1931 and 1942. Disney saw potential talent in this young man, and at the age of 48, he was the old man of the studio. His job was to design characters that the animators would then refine and bring to life. Why is it close to my heart, you ask? Well, he made significant contributions to the visual styles of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, classic film.
Yeah. On this day, 11th of May 1929, Margaret Kelly, a.k.a. the original Tinkerbell, was born in Peggy Lynch in Los Angeles, California. Not only was she the model for Tinkerbell, she was an voiceover artist, motivational speaker, and radio host. Aww.
Oh.
So that's cool, isn't it? Moving on to the 12th of May 1934, Winnie the Bear, the real-life inspiration for Winnie the Pooh, passed away at London Zoo. Now, this is a nice little nod and a hello to our lovely listeners who all told me to go to the New York Public Library to see the original Winnie the Pooh bear, which I did. And those of you who listen into our Patreon show will have heard my fantabulous trip report where I spoke about going to the library. Last but not least, 1992, so a little bit more in our era, Jane, Disneyland's Fantasmic, a nighttime firework and visual hydrotechnic show, was officially dedicated in Frontierland. The 22-minute presentation features fireworks, live actors, water effects, fire, sometimes a little bit too much fire, water, music boats, decorated rafts and projections onto large mist screens. It takes place in Disneyland on the Rivers of America. It later debuted in Disney's Hollywood Studios, which was then MGM Studios, in 1998. And for those of you who are taking count, there has been a few versions of Fantasmic. The original Mark I debuted May 13th, 1992, then July 17th, 2017, May 28th, 2022, and then the third reopening of the revamped Fantasmic was on the 24th of May, 2024.
Wow.
A little bit of history from little old me. It's been a slow week this week in Disney news, she says, tongue-in-cheek, knowing that things have slightly gone awry because of Abu Dhabi Disneyland. But I think the consensus of our podcast listening audience is pretty much Why aren't you spending money in the parks in the USA? Well, they've made it very clear. This isn't a deal that Disney's spending any money on at all. No. In fact, it is to earn them billions and billions of money from the team behind the project over in Abu Dhabi. It's very much a licensing deal. So
yeah, I think it's very easy to turn around and go, oh, come on, guys, if you're spending money over there, why not spend money over here, in the States or Paris or wherever it may well be. But I think, yeah, you're right there, Michelle. This is actually a way of Disney getting some much needed money. Anybody who follows their film franchises at the moment will know they're not doing very well on the old filmage, and Disney Plus isn't making them very much money either. So this is a way of getting a cash influx. And if I was being uber cynical, the fact that they announced it on the same day as they have their quarterly earnings call is a little bit fortuitous timing, shall we say?
Yes, indeed. So let's just put a little pause button on that one. I think we'll talk about that topic a little bit later, because while we're talking about Disney generating money, on last week's show, Anthony and I munched our way through the menu at Geo82 because we saw this week people went cray-cray for their reservations and they all got gobbled up in one bite.
Wowzers.
Anthony was one of them. He did not pay for the astronomically expensive fireworks spectacular because we do know anybody and everybody in the Orlando area who'll be in the parks on the opening days will have got that to share on their YouTubes, and good for them.
Yeah, and we'll just enjoy it from afar.
Vicariously, from the comfort of our sofa, smug in the fact we haven't spent $180 for that experience.
Very much so, yes.
But last week, Anthony and I were playing guessing games about what we would like to order from the menu. Well, pictures and prices have now become available, Jane.
Oh, have they? I've missed this with everything else that's been going on.
Well, you see, I'm always on the finger on the pulse for something to chomp on. Let's start with small bites. And here you have artisanal cheeses, accompaniments, and your usual charcuterie. You can get this for $29, putting it at the very high end of Disney charcuterie. I think the average tends to be about 22. So the jury is out. Obviously, we've not seen it in person. The picture for the flatbread looks like it's an actual flatbread cut in half. It does not look like it is incredibly large, but the fungi flatbread at $15 may be the one for someone who wants a little bit of carbs with a little bit of mozzarella to pick them up and stink their breath with a bit of black garlic.
And to absorb the alcohol, I would have thought.
Oh, there's going to be no alcohol. You need a second mortgage for the alcohol, Jane. I'll get to that in a minute. You can have a jumbo lump crab gatto for $25. Cannellini hummus, $14. You can have some truffled ahi tuna for $23. When you're a person who doesn't drink alcohol and you go to a public house or a bar or a cocktail bar or whatever, what sort of price point would you feel comfortable for your non-alcoholic beverage?
Not much.
Yeah, I'd be saying eau de tap.
Well, it's got to be like, I don't know, under $5, under $6, or something like that.
We are so not going to go to this lounge, are we, Jane? We could have a non-alcoholic beverage called a walk through the garden for $17.
Oh, well, it's going to be full of fruit juices and random bits, isn't it?
You could have a Manhattan in the morning, which has a Seed Lip Spice 94 non-alcoholic spirit, Joffrey's Coffee Cold Brew, Maple, Verjus Blanc, Tart Cherry, The Brothers Black Walnut Bitters, and again it's $17.
Can I just have a nice black coffee?
Can I have a nice free tap water?
Oh, yeah. It's like I don't really drink that much, and when I do drink, I don't drink sugary things like that. I'd rather just have a glass of red wine, but yeah, it's not compelling me at the moment.
Well, if you like something a bit less played around with, how about the brown butter old fashioned at $28?
Oh, cheap at half the price, yeah.
A clarified New York sour at $26. This is for you, Jane. Jane,
Oh,
a
here we go.
strawberry
Go on.
black pepper sour, $25.
Well, I agree. There is flavours in there that I would like.
You-
Whether I want them all together or not is another matter.
You could go with the exclusive Disney selection Bourbon Flight for $45.
Wow.
Beers range in price from $8.25 to $11.25. So technically, you can get an alcoholic beer cheaper than a non-alcoholic cocktail.
No, you see, that's just wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah. As I've evolved over the years into much more of a non-drinker, I do kind of feel a little bit excluded from these types of things now, I have to admit.
Don't worry, Jane. They have wine by the glass, starting from $16.
Oh, for goodness sake. I
Yeah.
nearly swore then and I had to retain myself.
Yeah, they have a lovely Pinot Noir. They also have the glasses you can buy as well, but they're not available till you're actually in the lounge.
But of course.
Yeah. So I will be very interested to hear what our lovely Anthony Markham thinks to this prestigious location, because he has got a reservation for his birthday bonanza trip because he was born on the 4th of July, so he will be there.
Well, that's a nice thing to do for your birthday. So that's, I suppose this is where it comes in, isn't it? Special occasions and all that. This is what might be more appropriate.
Yeah, and if I want to go, I will go, and I will get the cheapest beer on the menu because the beer is cheaper than the non-alcoholic beverages, and then I may not drink the beer, but at least I've got in and out with a bill of, $10 with tax and tip.
Yeah. I think me and Sam will be going in and sharing one then.
Yeah. No. Honestly, it's fine. 2 glasses, just split it between us. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jane, we have the remainder of your fantabulous, your amazing, your wonderful trip reports. So far, on Jane's voyage, we have covered said cruise, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and Epcot.
And Epcot, yes, that's correct. So
So-
there's an Animal and Magic Kingdom to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with the Magic Kingdom, because if we take ourselves back 12 years in time to our last co-trip, you were and I were wandering around the middle of New Fantasyland because it hadn't really finished. We didn't get to see it on that trip. And that is where it has stayed in Stacey's, basically, for the last 12 years for you. So you finally got to ride the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. What did you think of it after 11 years of waiting?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that when we were last there in 2013, it was very much like everything was finished in New Fantasyland, except for, we still had the usual boarding around Seven Dwarfs. But I absolutely loved it. I loved the queue area. We were queuing with our friends that we'd met up with, so we had a good time, and they were pointing bits and pieces out to us. I actually loved the ride. I thought it was a great little family coaster, right up my street, my sort of coaster. Just came off feeling happy. And that's what you want from a ride, isn't it?
I just love for the little dark bit in the middle and seeing Dopey look so happy and sweet, and it just gives you a warm hug, doesn't it? Now, it's possibly not as swayy as they anticipated, unless you are riding on it with the big kid called Stephen Klemowska, who tries to get the damn man cat doing a 360. He tries his best. But yeah, I love it. It's a nice, tame roller coaster. It's not one that's going to make you come off jittery and scared, i.e. something along the lines of Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate for that area of the park as well, isn't it? That area is very much aimed at youngsters and families, so I think it's a lovely introduction for little ones as a first roller coaster as well. So you say it's not too scary, you're not going to come off feeling sick or anything like that. So yeah, nothing not to like about it.
Have you been into Belle's Storytime before?
Yes, we had done. We didn't do that on this trip, but yes, we had been in there.
So that
before.
was there. Did you dine in Be Our Guest restaurant?
No, we did not, and no, we didn't this time either because it's too expensive.
You see, this is where you have good people in your life called me that say, Jane, don't waste your money.
I know, it's such a shame that they took away the quick service option at lunchtime, because I think it then does make it prohibitive for people to go into that building. I would love to go and see inside, but obviously with the no quick service no more, it just didn't cross our paths at all.
I know, and I always, as I walk past, just do a quick double take to see if our lovely friend Tracy Farley is outside picketing saying, bring back quick serve lunch, I want my kiddie prawns.
Well, yeah, it's such a shame really, but oh well, powers that be obviously know what they're doing.
It is one of the most profitable restaurants in the Magic Kingdom for Disney, because even with the actual high-end food that they have, like the steak and whatever, when you work out the actual ingredient cost to the profit ratio, it's absolutely staggering. So yeah, bring it back, Disney. We would love you forever if you do that for Jane and Shell.
Yeah.
And the breakfast as well, Jane. Some people really enjoyed going in there for the breakfast.
Well, yeah, and I think one thing that Simon and I did notice across most of the parks that good breakfast options for ourselves were hard to come by.
Absolutely. If you don't want to carb up, it's really tricky, but you did find that hack you've told us about before, just ordering the sides on the mobile order.
Yes.
And I think that is just fantabulous for you carnivores out there.
Just order what you want. Don't have the thing you don't.
And you don't have to deal with cast members just looking at you. You're 47 and you're ordering a kid's meal. So?
Oh, I don't care about that.
Yeah, me neither. I've done it at Cali Grill, but that was before they brought in their super exclusive fixed price malarkey. Was there anything else in the Magic Kingdom that was new to Jane and Simon?
Well, there were a couple of things, but neither of which we got to ride.
Oh.
So, one was the old Tiana's. Obviously, we had ridden that previously as Splash Mountain. And to be fair, I was wanting to go on it just to see what all the fuss was about. It was just one of those things where when the queues were of a decent queue time, the weather was a bit on the chilly side, and neither of us, to be fair, fancied walking around with wet clothes and what have you. So we'll get on it at some point, but we weren't, mega rushing to get on it. And the other one was Tron. I have to say I'm a bit ambivalent about Tron. Don't get me wrong, I love the movies. They've got a soft spot in my heart because they're such classics. But knowing it's a 1 minute 48 or whatever ride it is, I was kind of a bit like, if I see a really low queue time, I'll go on it. But I wasn't going to pay extra for it, and I wasn't prepared to wait a stupid amount of time for such a short ride experience. So, yeah, one we didn't get to do, but I'm sure that there'll be opportunities to do that at another point in time.
Maybe you will allude to that a little bit later to our Patreons. Okay, while you're in the Magic Kingdom, I know we've talked about the rides, etc. Different fireworks show.
Yes, last time we were there, it was Wishes. Obviously, we missed the Enchantment. Because that's been changed. So yes, it was Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
So, we got to see it 3 times, I think it was. One, we had a really good pitch, sort of hubbish sort of area. Second time, we were off to the side. The third time, though, we were actually on the top end of Main Street, and I think I enjoyed that the most because we could see the projections on Main Street. I don't know why, that just really worked for me. It was, absolutely loved it. And, both of us in tears all 3 times. I think that says it all, really, don't you?
Absolutely does. And it is great when you go to different vantage points because you do get a different perspective on the show, as you say. I personally this year managed to try out looking at the train station view, which is something I'd never seen before. I really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed seeing it from the Polly Beach, from Wilderness Lodge, from California Grill, different parts of the park, from New Fantasyland at the area place that they do let you in. And as you say, mid-Main Street in the hub. So yeah, absolutely agreed with that. Was there any food delights you enjoyed in the Magic Kingdom?
Food delights. I actually tried the cheeseburger, hamburger, rolly things, whatever they're called, over on the little food cart.
The spring rolls.
I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't, because I know there's a lot of fuss made about them, and I'm a little bit of a skeptic when it comes to things that seem to have a lot of fuss around them. But no, gave them a try, and I was very pleasantly surprised and actually really quite enjoyed them. We did struggle, to be fair. I do think the Magic Kingdom, for our personal tastes, we kind of found it a little bit hard going for food. We did have a lovely salmon and green beans over at Columbia Harbour House, and we were able to swap out the rice for more green beans. Although I will say that one we had to do in person. Although mobile order was available, there are some things on a mobile order that you cannot customise. They give you customisable options, but it's maybe not as customisable as one would like. So we did find on occasions that if you queued and ordered in person, you could make more amendments to your order than you could on the actual app. Although obviously the app has the benefit of not having to queue and just turning up when your food is ready. So it's a bit of swings and roundabouts.
I will add to that though, Jane, it depends on the cast member, because I tried to get rid of the carb content and have green beans and they wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I think I was going to say that is the other thing. Sometimes we asked and they looked at you, gone out, and I was said to Simon numerous times, I'm sure I'm speaking another language, because you'd ask for something that you felt was really straightforward and you get this blank stare back at you. So I think you're right, it does depend as well on the cast members, why they don't just give you those more options in the app. I appreciate more programming, etc. But if they're already giving you options to add or remove things, then put a few more options in there. I don't see why that can't happen.
You had a fantastic time in the Magic Kingdom, soaking up the atmosphere. What do you think to the new hub? Because again, that's something new.
Yeah, actually, it was fine. I hadn't really, sounds weird, but I think because I've watched so many vlogs, etc., it kind of just felt like it's always felt in some respects. We did make a point of trying to recreate photos that we took, going back to 1991, some from 1996 and some from 2011. So we've got a series of photos that we were trying to recreate, a couple of which were hard to do in front of the castle because things where I'd sat were no longer there. So there was a little bit of having to, somewhere around about there will do, type of thing. And some of the statues, I've got Simon fist bumping a Donald that is no longer there. So just daft things like that we could no longer do. So, but otherwise, it was kind of felt normal.
Yeah. I imagine when we're moving now over to Animal Kingdom, there's not a great deal of things to talk about because probably things have disappeared rather than reappeared.
Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously, Dinoland had gone with the exception of Dinosaur. But Pandora was a first for us.
No!
Yeah. I can't tell you the year Pandora came in, but I know it wasn't there in 2013 when we were there. So that whole area was new. To be fair, we walked into it on the first time we walked around there, and we're like, oh, yeah, okay. It's pretty, it's more jungly. It wasn't until we went back in on other occasions that we actually got to appreciate it more. And just the whole area wandering around. I did say if you're a photographer, a bit like Journey of Water over at Epcot, it's a dream area because there's so much to take photos of, and the planting that's real and fake, and where does it all kind of merge. We were lucky enough to ride Flight of Passage twice, which was a good job because the very first time that we rode it with some friends that we'd met up with. And we got through to the ride itself and got the glasses on and jumped on and what have you. And I struggled with the 3D element on part of it where you have a lot of the luminescence happening. I looked across at Simon at that point in time, and he was doing exactly the same as I was, kind of moving the 3D glasses around. When we got off the ride, he was really not happy. He said the 3D was rubbish, he couldn't see things, he was having to take his glasses off and on, and he was really quite disappointed. Thankfully, we took the opportunity to go and ride it again a few days later. I think the wait time was about 45 minutes, something like that. And he had a completely different experience. And we could only come to the conclusion that the glasses that he'd got the first time around were not in a good state of repair, because we were almost in exactly the same room, I think, ironically, the same sort of position and everything. And whilst I still had issues with the luminescence and 3D, the rest of the ride, but we were both absolutely fine. And as a consequence, Sam enjoyed it much more that second time around. We did the river journey as well. I quite liked that. I know it's not everybody's favourite, and the animatronic in there is spectacular. It could just do with being longer. I think if it was a longer ride, people would enjoy it more, especially when you look around and you see what they're doing, and you look up and you can see the animals that are moving across, and even the fake planting leaves that they've got up in the ceiling is moving to reflect the movement of the animals on the screens and stuff. You know, it is really well done. I think it probably gets a little bit of a bad rap personally, but I think part of that is it needs to be longer and have a bit more of a coherent storyline perhaps happening in it, rather than it felt just being very pretty things to look at. But yeah, otherwise it was okay. But we fell in love with Satuli Canteen.
Oh, of course you did.
It was just, I think Satuli Canteen, along with Docu Bay 7 in Hollywood Studios, shows you where theme park food can go, and slight deviation. But we've all seen probably the food options that are appearing over at Epic Universe, and how, whilst they are more expensive, they have elevated the game from what it would appear. And I think both of those locations in Disney World do that as well. It doesn't really feel like you're eating theme park food at all. And we made a point of going to Satuli for breakfast 2 mornings, because their frittata with the goat's cheese and the beef was just to die for. It was lovely. So Pandora ended up being quite a big hit for us. The only downside was we knew that the luminescence in the flooring had recently been redone, but we never got a chance to see it because the park was shutting at 6 o'clock. We'd had daylight savings, and therefore it wasn't dark enough to see it.
Well, you know the old adage, Jane? You're just going to have to go back.
Oh, if I must, Michelle.
I'll force you.
And of course we did get to see, it's tough to be booked. Literally, it closed while we were on vacation, so we saw it with about 3 or 4 days to go. And I have to say, the cast members, there was a guy doing, like, telling you where to move, and all, it was absolutely on point. You could tell that they were making the best of those last few days. Lots of jokes, lots of interactions. So actually it was a really cool time to go and see it. I think we saw it twice in total. So so we got a chance to say goodbye to that, and we got a chance to say goodbye to Dinosaur a couple of times as well. Although who knows, may get on it again. Never know.
You never know. Well, thank you for sharing all of that, Jane, because it sounds an absolutely phenomenal trip, that you both had a fantastic reintroduction to the world of Disney, and now you're back, you want a bit more. So guys, why don't you get a bit more by going over to @DisDreamGirls on our Instagram page, or patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls, and support us financially via our Patreon page. In return, you will get additional things such as extra podcasts. But until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.